arm. We also have a training arm, the Genex Solar Academy, where we train participants on solar design and installations. We currently have a batch running, which will be running up in this month, next month, early next month, and when registrations are open for the new batch, would communicate that as well. So I'll just let Mr. Robert come in here to speak about Growatts, and he will take us through the session from there on. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Hello.
Yeah, good morning.
My name is Moshe Robert, the after-sales technical service engineer for Growatt. I represent West African markets. So I would like to take us through the Growatt history. Growatt is a multinational company in the solar industry. We produce both the inverter systems and the energy storage, like the lithium battery. So let me run through the write-up here. With a vision to build a green and sustainable future, a group of pioneers in the global PV industry, headed by David Dean, came together in 2011 and founded Growatt. The passion to enable everyone to benefit from sustainable energy inspired deep devotion in Team Growatt, who work relentlessly to deliver high-capacity products and services to global customers. Within the decade's time, Growatt quickly grows to become a global leading distributor in energy solution provider. Today, Growatt is already the global #1 residential inverter supplier and also the largest user-side energy storage in inverter supplier in the world. Yet, the passion we share with our global partners to create a better world continues to take us forward. Our mission, to enable everyone to benefit from sustainable energy. Our values, innovation, excellence, and customers-oriented. Our vision, to build the world's largest intelligent, sustainable, and ecosystem for humankind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Robert, for that introduction. So we'll be going straight into the webinar now, and he'll be taking us through the different products, models that we have available. So he bring that out. So please try and mute your mic so that we don't have any distractions. And if you have any questions, please drop it in the chat. Thank you very much.
So the #1 on our list here is the Growatt SPF 3000 TL HVM. So this particular unit uses a 48-volt system. This means you will need a 12-volt battery, 4 of them connected in series, to be able to power these particular systems. So here are some of the basic features for this particular model. The rated power is 3 kilowatts. Built-in MPPT solar charge controller. The inverter is compatible with lithium and lead acid battery. MPPT operating voltage range between 60 VDC to 115 VDC, and could also take maximum of 144 VDC coming from the solar panels array. It is light in weight. It is compatible with Wi-Fi/GPRS module for remote monitoring. From the display, you can see the connection terminals at the bottom of the inverter. Please, can you help me enlarge the picture so that I can point to every port and explain it better? Take it up a bit. Okay, it's fine. So from this picture, starting from the left, you can see the AC input. From this point, you can connect your AC input coming to the inverter. And below it, you will see AC output. Here, you can connect your output load to the inverter. And then you have a reset breaker here for the inputs to the inverter. So whenever there is an abnormal current or voltage coming from the input side on the AC, this breaker can actually disengage the flow of current coming to the inverter and as well protect the inverter from further damage. We have the Wi-Fi like the GPRS port. It's a USB port where you can plug in the data logger for remote monitoring. You have the USB port here. So in case you want to do a local upgrade, when I mean upgrade, there are some times that you might be required to upgrade the inverter locally, upgrade the firmware of the inverter locally. So there's a cable, just like the normal printer cable that we all know. You connect the other end to the computer where you have the firmware installed. Then you connect the other end to the inverter on this very port. Using the ISP tools, the inverter will be able to communicate with your computer, and then you will be able to do the firmware upgrade. Here we have the BMS port, which enable the communication between battery, the lithium battery, and the inverter itself. And here we have the communication port, RS485 communication ports. So for this inverter, the communication protocol for this inverter between batteries and inverter, we have the CAN communication and the RS485 communication. Please, you can keep your question till after the presentation, then I will be answering them one after the other. So RS485 ports and then the BMS ports. This work for the communication protocols. For the CAN communication, the BMS port will connect to the BMS port, and then for the RS communication protocol, the connection cable will come to this port. Then here we have the MC, C, and no. Normally close, close, and normally open. This is for the dry contact. Like for some smart generator, you can use this fixture here to connect your generator to this system. So the system will be able to power your generator when the battery system is running low, depending on your configurations. Here we have the PV input. The PV input. At this point, this is where your solar input cable comes into the inverter. And this point where we have the DC input is for the battery. The negative terminal and the positive terminal of the battery comes to this port. And here we have the on and off switch to turn on and to turn off the inverter. This is the switch. It's directly under the inverter. So this is for this particular one. So can we move to the next one? Here we have the SPF 5000 ES. This is one of the most selling among our brand for the African market. This particular one can work with or without the battery systems. It can work with only the grid system, the PV system, and with the battery. So whichever of these that is available, the inverter can actually work with it. Please, next slide. So here are some of the basic features for this particular model. The rated power is 5 kilowatt. It has built-in solar, MPPT solar charge controller, MPPT operating voltage range between 120 VDC to 130 VDC, and maximum of 450 VDC. This simply means this can accommodate more solar panels like the previous one I have explained. It is compatible with lithium battery and lead acid battery. This very one supports the parallel operation for capacity extension up to 30 kilowatt. So you can parallel up to 6 units of this particular model to give you 30 kilowatt. Flexibly schedule the inverter charging and discharging time. You can configure your charging time should, in case you are using a prepaid meter at home. This particular inverter enable you to set your charging time based on how many hours you want the battery to charge, or you want the battery to supply output to your load. So it is configurable based on your choice. Hello. Hello, Mrs. Ukeme. Hello.
We can hear you. I hear you, sir.
Yeah, I lost the screen.
Okay, apologies. I think that was the network issue from my end. So please confirm if you can see it now.
Yeah, I can see it now.
All right, I'll just go right to the slide that you will.
Okay. So I was explaining the flexibility in scheduling the inverter charging and discharging time. So this particular one have the ability to schedule the charging time and the discharge time for the battery. The first features I stated with this works with or without battery. You can decide to run it without a battery system. The only time you'll be needing a battery system for this one, maybe in the case you will need a backup system at night when there will be no sunlight or the grid supply. But if you must use this particular one on no battery, you must make sure that the load that will be put on this inverter should be less than what your solar panels, your PV array can produce. Otherwise, the system will not work. Let's say, for example, you have a total load of 1 kilowatt and you want to run it without a battery system. Your PV array should be able to produce at least 1,500 watts or 2,000 watts for the system to work conveniently. Compatible with Wi-Fi/GPRS module for remote monitoring. So with this capability, you should be able to monitor the system performance even while you are away from the house, from the office, or from the site where this inverter is being installed. You can monitor the system. You can set up parameters anywhere so long your system is online. So maybe subsequently, we might be having a training on the installation and configuration of these particular modules for monitoring. Please, next slide. This is the display screen for this particular one, SPF 5000 ES. The first one here indicates the status indicator. We have the fault indicator. So whenever there is a fault alarm, this very one blinks red continuously. Whenever there is a fault alarm, this one blinks red. And then when there is a warning alarm, this very one shows indicate red alarm, but it's a beeping alarm at interval, it beeps. But if it is an error fault, it shows a continuous beeping. So that is when you differentiate, how you differentiate between warning alarm and the error alarm on this unit. So the third one shows the charging indicator. It will be blinking green to show that the inverter is charging. It will blink green. Then the indicator alarm shows the inverter is actually working. So whenever the inverter is working, this very one, status indicator, it shows green light. So we have the LCD display screen, display the information, the output voltage, the input voltage, current, the frequency, and all of that. Everything, you can see them here. And then this is the function button. This one, the function button. Those buttons down, they are the function button. You can use them to navigate within the system settings. And here we have the connection ports for this particular one. It is similar to the first one I explained, but I will still run through them again. So you can see from the left here, we have the AC input port, AC inputs coming to the inverter. We have the circuit breaker for the input, the AC output port, where the AC output cable is being connected to. We have the Wi-Fi like the GPRS communication ports. The data logger is being connected to this point. USB communication port for batteries, USB communication port for firmware upgrade. And then we have the dry contact ports, like the ones I explained before. This gives you the privilege to connect your smart generator to the inverter, so that whenever the system is running low on battery, it can start the generator automatically without you having to go out and power your gen. So with this function, the inverter can actually start the gen. Then we have the PV input ports. PV input ports. The CAN communication port. CAN communication ports. Then RS485 communication ports. You can see the CAN communication port here. You can see the RS485 communication port here. Then the on and off switch, power on and off switch for the inverter. Here we have the current sharing cable. Current sharing cable should, in case you connect the system in parallel, but if the system is being run as a single unit, there won't be need to connect this current sharing cable. It's only used when you connect system in parallel And then you have the parallel communication port. Parallel communication port, these two ports, it allows you to connect the system in parallel with the other inverters. Then we have the battery input ports for this one. Battery connection, negative and the positive terminal of the battery comes to this port. So this is all for SPF 5000 ES. Then the last one on our list here is the SPF 6000 ES Plus. So this is one of our latest release for the African market. So I'm going to explain the fixtures as it is on the display. The rated power is 6 kilowatts. This one has a dual MPPT trackers, maximum of 16 amps input current per MPPT tracker. This is to say that one of the MPPT tracker can carry up to 16 amps of solar arrays. So when you put the two MPPT trackers together, you should be able to have up to 32 amps from your PV array coming to the inverter, which is a lot. MPPT operating voltage range between 120 VDC to 500 VDC. So this one gives maximum allowance and the former, which is the SPF 5000 ES. So this one, you can have operating voltage of up to 500 VDC from your solar array. Plug and play terminals for PV ports. So for the PV connection terminal, so you will not need to screw them. There's a plug and play terminal on it that you can actually plug in your PV to it, and then configurable grid and solar input. It has that feature that's allowed you to determine whether to charge with grid or solar. Parallel for scalability. You can also connect these ones in parallel, and you can connect as much as 6 units, which will give a total of 36 kilowatts in total. 2 AC input terminal with integrated transfer switch. So with this one, you can connect both the utility and your generator inputs to the inverter directly without having to install a changeover switch. And then it is incorporated with a transfer switch. Whenever your grid is on, your system charges with the grid supply, and when it goes off, and then you on your gen, you don't need to turn over any changeover switch. The system automatically starts up charging with the generator input. So this is the essence of these particular fixtures. Dust-proof design to prevent inverter faults caused by excessive dust and easy for maintenance. So this one has been designed in such a way that dust will not have any effect on it. It is compatible with Wi-Fi / GPRS remote monitoring system, like the other ones. So this is the connection terminals for this one. So I'm going to run through it too for us to see. Okay. So here we have the PV2 input. This very one you see here. This is PV2 input. It's a plug and play port. For those of us that are familiar with the solar panel connection, we have the female and the male port. So for both the negative and the positive terminal. So you can see the two terminals for PV2 input. You can see the PV1 input here. You have also another 2 terminals for it. We can connect them as it is here. Then current sharing cables. This is where the current sharing cable of this one comes in, so in case you connect them in parallel. So this is where your current sharing cable comes to. Dry contact for auto start, gen auto start. That is the function of this one, dry contact. Then the parallel connection. You can see this port is different from the normal SPF 5000 ES. This one uses the normal RJ45 plug port for connection. You can see the parallel in, then the parallel out to this one. Then we have the BMS port and the RS485 port for battery communication. These 2 ports, the BMS port and the RS485 port for battery communication. We have the circuit breaker for input supply to the inverter. We have the Wi-Fi like the GPRS port for remote monitoring dongle, the data logger. Then we have the USB port for local firmware upgrade. Battery inputs. This is the battery input terminals for battery connection, plus, a positive and negative terminal of the battery. Then here we have generator inputs. The generator inputs is at this point. Then the AC inputs from the grid is at this point. Then AC output is the port. Then the ground, GND, the ground cable for Ethernet comes to this point. Then power off and power on and off switch for the inverter is here. So this is for SPF 6000 ES plus. This next slide. So here we have the remote monitoring and smart energy management. So as you can see, we have 2 types of the data logger, the Wi-Fi dongle. We have the Shine Wi-Fi F and Shine GPRS F. They are almost the same thing. So without this particular device, you cannot connect the inverter online for remote monitoring purpose. So for your inverter to connect to Growatt server, you must use this device to interconnect the inverter to the server. So this device, the way it works is it must connect to your home router before it can work with the inverter. Your home router can be of any network subscriber. So once this data logger connects to your home Wi-Fi, you'll be able to configure it with your inverter systems. So maybe subsequently, we'll be having a training on how to configure it. So it's a straightforward configuration. It's not hard at all. So there is actually a guide to it. In case any of you want to know more about it, I can share the document with you after the training. So how to configure the Wi-Fi data logger to the inverter using the Shine Phone app. So the Shine Phone app, you can actually get it from the Google Play Store and the iOS Apple Store. So you can download them from there. So these are the basic features for these 2. The Shine Wi-Fi F, it is cable-free, easy for installation. Communication distance of up to 50 meters. So this simply means you can communicate with your the Wi-Fi data logger can communicate with the router, even if the router is up to like 50 meters away from where the inverter is being installed. So it has a built-in memory for up to 1 month of data. So this very one can store up data up to a month before it clears off. Online monitoring and maintenance. So it allows you to monitor your system online and then for frequent maintenance purposes. Then the Shine GPRS F. It is cable-free and plug-and-play device. It supports firmware upgrade. Like from time to time, maybe if there is any issue with the inverter, there are some of them that we as a Growatt engineers, we can remotely upgrade the system from our end. So long the system is online, we can remotely upgrade them, and then that can resolve so many issues. So this very one is good for remote firmware upgrade. The Shine GPRS F dongle is good for remote monitoring. Remote firmware upgrade. Then cloud server for data storage. This one have access to the cloud. The data can as well be stored in the cloud. So in case you want to store data for years. So this very one is recommended. Then universal mobile network supported. So these are the basic features of this one. I think we have come to the end of the presentation. Thank you, and then I'll be waiting to respond to your question one after the other. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Robert. I trust that that was an enlightening session for every one of us, and I believe that we have questions as well. So if you have questions, please drop them in the chat box, and our facilitator will take them in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Thank you. All right, yes, the recordings will be shared after the webinar. That will be shared with you and will also be uploaded on our website and YouTube platform so that you can watch them at any time. Okay, so someone said, please share the BMS set. Would you want to respond to that, Mr. Roberts? The BMS monitoring setup?
Yeah, the BMS monitoring setup. The BMS monitoring setup does not have a separate setup for it. Once you are able to configure the data logger successfully, you can monitor your battery performance, inverter performance through the Shine Phone app. Hello.
Okay, that's from Mr. Adedeji. I don't know if that's clear. Please confirm. Okay, that's clear. Okay, so there's another question here. The universal network means any network SIM would work, right? For the
yes, and any network setup, okay. So long you can browse with your router, your home router.
Okay. So what is CAN port? That's from Mr. McPella. What is CAN port?
The CAN port is a communication protocol used between, is a port used as a communication link between the inverter and the battery systems. So for our inverter, they uses two communication protocols, the CAN communication protocol and the RS485 communication protocol. So it is a communication interface between the inverter and the battery systems for the lithium battery, especially lithium battery. If you are using the lead acid battery, you don't need the BMS communication to be able to work with our inverter. But if you use a lithium-ion battery, there will be a need for BMS communication if you want the best performance from your lithium battery.
Thank you very much, Mr. Robert, for that clarification. Okay, so I have a question from Mr. Rad Alpha Global. He said, good morning. Please, can Shine Wi-Fi also do the function of Shine GPRS, like firmware upgrade? Firmware upgrade, does it work on Shine Wi-Fi module as well?
It doesn't work on Shine Wi-Fi F. It only works for Shine Wi-Fi, Shine GPRS F for remote upgrade.
Okay, thank you for that. Operating voltage depends on VOC or VMP. That's for either of the models. The operating voltage range that works with the VOC.
Yes, it's with the VOC, the open circuit voltage.
All right, so Mr. Radi, manuals for 5 kilowatt and 6 kilowatts, we would get that across to you as well. We would share that with you for each of the models, even the 3000, the 3 kilowatt model.
Yeah.
All right, do we have further questions? Any other questions? Okay, what advantage does Growatt 6 kVA have over, okay. All right, so we would have to, we've done a previous webinar on Gen X 6 kVA inverter. So see, it has different features which you can look through as well. So the Gen X 6 kVA inverter has different features and they're both different brands. So when you're able to compare them, you see the features of both inverters and how they work differently. Can 5 kilowatt, 6 kilowatt together?
No. If you are using a 5 kilowatt system and you want to parallel them, you parallel 5 kilowatt to 5 kilowatt, 6 kilowatt to 6 kilowatt. So you cannot parallel 5 kilowatt and 6 kilowatt together. So there's going to be a conflict in operation.
Thank you. What is PMS? I believe you want to say BMS port, Mr. Ejiro. BMS port. Mr. Robert has given an explanation on that earlier. Okay, what is the meaning of the ES model, and does Growatt have another model aside from the ES model? Do you want to take that, Mr. Robert?
For the sake of this webinar, I think it's necessary to speak on these three that you people will be putting to the market.
Yes,
but
so
the answer is yes. The Growatt has other models that are not listed here.
For the ES nomenclature, does that have any meaning? ES, that's another question. Yes.
No, it doesn't have any meaning. Just a unique model number for that particular model. Yes.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
How many units of 5 kilowatts can be parallel? So how many can be cascaded together for 5 kilowatt inverter?
The maximum numbers of 5 kilowatts you can parallel is 6. 6 in parallel. 6 in parallel.
To have a 30 kilowatt system, so it can't be beyond 30 kilowatts.
If you have beyond 30 kilowatt system, you might decide to do, or maybe if it is not up to 40, you can go for the 6 SPF 6000 ES plus, which gives you 36 kilowatt if you parallel 6 of them. But if it is above 40 kilowatt, then you can do 6 in group, and then you do your load separation to suit the load you are to power.
Okay, so there's some questions on parallel connection. Please, can you explain inverter paralleling based on connection? And that's That's going to be, I don't know if we can take that in a few minutes. Quite a
Okay.
technical question.
I would like to show them the connection diagram from the user manual. I don't know if I can share my screen. Can we? Hello?
Hello, you can share your screen now.
Okay, okay. Give me a moment.
Okay.
Please hold on. I'm trying to access the document.
Okay, so if you have further questions, please drop in the I think the prior connection will be the last question we'll be taking. So if you have further questions, we are going to respond to that.
So can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. All right.
So I think manual is not showing yet.
It's not showing.
Yes, you're trying to open the manual.
Oh, it means there's a problem somewhere. It's showing on my end.
Oh, okay. So let me see. Is this something you can speak through without the
Yeah, I can actually speak through without displaying it.
Okay, so let me see.
I actually wanted them to have a look of how it is, but I don't know why it's not showing from your end.
Okay.
Okay,
Sorry,
get
sorry,
that for
Mr.
you from
Robert.
my end. Okay.
Sorry,
Okay.
you can unshare and then try to share again. Then you'll see the exact screen where it is open.
Oh, okay. 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 I'll stop the sharing now and then try to share it again.
Okay.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, it's visible now.
Okay. So like
Yes, we
in the
can
case
see.
of, okay, like in the case of the parallel system, if you see on this picture, you have 4 of those units connected in parallel. So 4 of them connected in parallel. So you can see the connection. This is a line diagram connection for a parallel system. You can see the battery system here with the thick red and black line diagram connected to each inverter. So all the inverters are connected to the same battery bank. You can see the thick red line and the black line diagram connected to each of the inverter. This stands for the battery bank. Then you can see below battery, you will see the utility grid, the NEPA supply. It can be the NEPA or generator standing in for this one. You can see the blue and the brown color line diagram. You see, you can see. So this shows that the 4 systems are connected to a single phase system. So that is why you can see they all share both the same phase. From this line diagram, if you can study it very well, or if you understand it very well, you can see that the 4 inverters take their input from the same phase. You can see. Then you have the load. The load also is connected to the load. The output of this whole inverter is connected to one phase too. You can see the line diagram too, the way it is there. You can only achieve this using a bus bar for the battery, the inputs, and then the output. Everything is together for a single phase installation. So there is also a diagram for a 3-phase installation, but I would like to know if this is clear enough so that I can explain the 3-phase system too, the way it's being done. Hello?
Okay, so I think we had a question from Rad Alpha Global. Please confirm if it's clear.
It's clear.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
And
okay.
all right, thank you.
So this one is for the parallel connection. You can see now we have a total of 5 systems here in parallel. You can see that the line diagram is different. So for a parallel connection, if you are having 5 inverter in parallel, it is advised that you can do on a red phase, you can put 2 systems on red phase, then another 2 systems on yellow phase, and then the last inverter on the blue phase. That is if you want to balance the load system for your installation. So this is the line diagram for a parallel connection. So for anybody that understands electrical installation, so this line diagram is self-explanatory. So you can run through it and then you get the illustration, how it is being done. So for those of you that might want to have this document, you can reach me after the training. I will share all the necessary documents with you. And then during the course of installation or troubleshooting, you can always contact me on WhatsApp and on my official email. So I will be there to assist you. So this is all for the parallel connection.
Okay, thank you very much, Robert, for that explanation. So I think we would go to a close here for this webinar. So if you have further questions, please reach out to us via any of our platforms, and we'll also share the details with you, details of Mr. Robert's email address and contact details with you as well to engage him on any technical concerns. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. The training much appreciated.
Come.